welcome to day 4 of Python Bootcamp, and I hope you all enjoy the journey so far. And today we're gonna learn something new in Python, like kind of basic things that you need to know as a Python programmer. And guys, don't forget to fill in your attendance form at the end of the session, which is mandatory for your completion certificate. And let's hop on to the day. And here these are the agendas of the bootcamp. First of all, we're going to deal with what packages are and how other packages shall be imported, considering that we are not having certain built-in packages right in a way to take and consider. And then what are errors in Python, what are exceptions in Python, what are different kinds of exception in Python, and how we handle it with some keywords like try, except, and finally. And at last, we also handle a very important topic called file handling in Python. So let's jump into the topics. Like, first of all, packages. The packages are nothing but scripts, or they're nothing but some kind of scripts written for doing some functions. It might be a larger function like creating a web page, or it can be doing some small mathematical calculation. It might be building a model. It might be plotting some graphs, etc. And whenever we say a package, it also has some called, like, we consider that as a folder with some subfolders and some files in it. And the files are the scripts, and subfolders are the sub packages. And packages is like the whole folder that it's a folder that contains all the subfolders and the files. Whenever I say package, there are many inbuilt packages. We also have seen in our before bootcamps, like random is a one kind of package. This is an inbuilt package. It has some sub package called random.random. Random.random int is like files or scripts. These are some of the built-in packages that we have dealt so far. And let me give some real life or like practical scenarios of using sub packages, or how we call a function within a sub packages given a package we are importing. Okay, guys. So let's hop on into it. I want to give a live example of what a package is, and how to access a sub package, and how to access a script within a sub package, or a function within a sub package. Okay, right? So right now I'm going to import a package called datetime, and let me extract the current year. Okay, so let me create a variable called year, and let the package be datetime. And again, the sub package name is also datetime, and the function for getting the current date or year, current date is now. And I'm just gonna extract the year alone from the current date. Okay, I hope I made my point clear. This is how we import a package. Once the package is imported, we are again going in search of sub package called datetime. Within the sub package, we have function called now. From that, now we are extracting the year. Okay, so let me print year so that you'll be having a clear idea. So here we have the year. To further optimize these, there is yet another way of accessing a sub package while importing itself. Considering I'm in need of a datetime package, and along with a sub package called datetime, so I'll be writing like this, having a keyword called from the package datetime, import the sub package datetime. So in this case, it is not necessary to have the first package, like we before we had this one, right? Like sub package and function. In this case, it is not necessary, and upon running this, we'll be getting the same values. So of accessing a sub package is just yet another way among having a dot notation before a sub package. So in this way, you have learned how to import a package, how to import a sub package from a given a package, and guys, how to use a function within a sub package, etc. So I hope you guys have learned something new regarding how to import a module, and how to access a sub package, and the functions within it, right? So let's move on to our next topic. This is errors in Python. And guys, like this is something like you often get into, like irrespective of how good you are in coding, this is something like we all face in our everyday coding scenarios. And of course we can make some mistakes, and it's all about how we handle it and how we understand the bug and how we fix it, right? So there exist two types of errors, like one is syntax error and another one is a logical error. The syntax error is something like we miss on while like coding. Like it might be right, for this example, taking in this example, it might be a missing of colon, or we might be missing out a certain indentations. And these are some of examples of syntax errors. And don't worry guys, let me give you some examples too. Let's clear this one. And we all have discussed this function earlier. So like given like we have a greater than 3, and this is the example we had. Given we have a colon, but still we are that there exists no kind of statements or to be executed within the if block. And let's say if we have just a print statement hello, we will be having an error called indentation error, considering like this statement is coming under this, and this is handled by means of having a word called pass. And this is not only for if statement, this is also for let's have a variable called a is equal to just for to have a error free code. Let's have a def hello, and given there exists no statement within it, and I'm just gonna print day food. And this is also gonna cause the same error called indentation error, expecting the statement is under this def function, and this also can be handled with the keyword called pass. So this is how we get an error, and this is one way of handling an error, saying that okay, because of this error, the other part of execution should not be defaulted. Say given if I'm not having a pass statement here, the other statements won't even get executed. And given I'm not having a pass statement here, this statement won't be executed, right? So this is how the main aim of handling an error is like should not to not affect the pipeline as a whole. An error should not affect the whole process, and ever should not affect the whole model, like etc. So this is one way of handling an error. And this is one way. And let's move on to the next part, which is called logical errors. So logical errors are something we do that is correctable, and it can be handled, and both the things are handleable, both errors and the syntax errors and the logical errors. The logical errors, some might be we calling a file which is not even found in the directory. Let's say we are calling for a data to be read, or we are asking for a file to be opened which is not exactly there in the directory. Don't worry guys, we'll be having some real scenarios on file not found error and zero division error, etc. And these exceptions are thrown whenever the Python code is run. So whenever the Python script is executed, the exception arises and tells like, okay, in this line, this is what you have mentioned. This is what you have missed out. So please go and correct it. So that's the small intro about what an error in Python is, what an exception in Python is, right, guys? And guys, if you guys have any kind of doubts in this session, or if you guys have any kind of queries with respect to errors and exceptions, don't forget to comment in the comment, and we guys are happy to address the issues, and we shall go on with this topics. So there exist different types of exceptions, and it shall be an index error when we are considering a list. It can be an assertion error, it can be an attribute error, it can be an import error, it can be a key error, it can be a name error, it can be a memory error, and can be a type error. Don't worry guys, let me give some of the examples of these scenarios, so that you'll be having some better understanding. Okay, these are the scenarios, or these are the ways these kind of errors might be replicated, right? So let me like let me just print a given I'm not having any kind of variable called a, right? So on printing or on executing something with a variable which is not even being executed, or which is not even been declared or defined, we get this error called name error. So the main motto of this error is like, it says like, hey, you have asked for an A, you asked me to print A, but I couldn't find any kind of variable represented. There are two ways of happening this, guys. Like, one, we might have totally missed out the variable error, or two, we might have mentioned this after the statement. Let's say here, though we have mentioned A is equal to, we have assigned or declared A is equal to 2, still the print statement is way before the A is even been declared, right? So in these cases, we also get an error, name error of A is equal, A not equal, A is not defined, right? So whenever, guys, you just come across this error, don't forget to cross check your script and check whether that variable is being assigned. So let me print. Yep, it's printing. So this is one kind of example of how name error is occurring. How it shall be handled. I handled by the means how you can debug, or how you can curate the reason for why this error is happening, and you can also fix this error, right? So next one is an index error. Let's have the A as common, and let's take it as a list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And guys, I have mentioned before, the in case of list, the indexes are like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So in case I'm just forgetting things, and then wait a minute, I'll just clear this things one. Okay, I'm just giving A of 5, expecting the value of 5, right? So in this case, considering like I thought like index is starting from 1, I'm a beginner, I'm not having any kind of ideas, and then I'm just giving 5 in an intention of getting the value of 5. That's what I intend to do, but logically I make an error, right? It says like in list index out of range. The reason is, even though I want to get the value of 5, but the range is only up to 4, right? So in this case, it says like, okay, you have given only me 5 values, and you are asking me to print the 6th value, which is not in the list, and it is out of range, right? So this can be cross-checked. You can curate the list and then check, okay, this is the length of my list, and whenever the how you can check, okay, I'm done this wrong or not, is like one quick trick, right, guys? Like, first print the length of the list. Okay, so let me print this one right here, so that it would be executed before even exception has been thrown. Okay, guys, so it is a quick check where whenever you print a list, and if the index is equal to the length or greater than the length of the list, then obviously this is the reason for list index. This is going to be a list index out of range, and this is the quick check. Okay, I have like done something with the kind of indexing, right? So as I said before, my intention is to get the value, the 5th value. So I'm just in case I'm having the right kind of index, uh, right value of index, I'll be getting the value of 5. So here the length is 5, and this is the value, guys. Like, don't get confused with that. So I hope you now have some clear ideas of what a key error is, what an index error is. Let me get into type error. Let's say I'm having a word called Python, and let's say just for our understanding, let's say I'm just trying to divide it by 10, and you guys know like only the integers and floats can get into an arithmetic, right? Arithmetic operations, and on giving this, I get an error called type error, unsupported operand, which I'm trying to do is like, I'm trying to do a division. And guys, like, Python is very much explanatory with its exception. With its and logical error, like saying it's like you are trying to do an division with a string and an integer. Okay, with this you should know like, okay, I have done something with respect to the type of the variable. It's totally depends on the type of the variable. Okay, and this is how you fix it. Okay, the a should be some kind of integer or float. Let's have 100.00, just for, and we have the value. So guys, this is one of the type error. Type error is nothing but you're trying to do some kind of operation which is not valid for that data type, given that data type. Okay, so it is impossible to have a string division with the integer, right? So this is what a type error is. And let's next we gonna have a look at module error. Okay, so in case of module error, module not found error, it is mostly occurs whenever that kind of module is not present within your installed system. It might be you might not have installed the package within your system. Let's say I'm trying to import a package called Flask. It is one of the packages that we use for building an APIs. So upon this, we'll be having module not found error, no module name Flask. So in order to stop getting this error again and again, you have to install this package within your system so that this error won't be repeated again. So guys, like I hope I made some of the errors more clear, and how to overcome that errors or exceptions, etc. Let's move on to our next topic, right? I hope I have covered most of our exceptions with along with how we can handle it. And coming to exception handling, consider guys, we always write a lot of codes, right? So we might be missing out something, or we might be having an intention like, okay, this is a phase where based on certain inputs, and the whole functionality might be throwing an exception or an error. Okay, so in that case, the one of the good practices of handling of doing in Python programming or programming is like having some try exception blocks. So whenever you have some insights telling you like, okay, this is a block of code, I'm quite suspicious that it would be throwing some exceptions or it would be causing some errors, I will probably putting that into the try and except block. Okay, so let me have certain variables like a is equal to int of input enter a. Okay, and let's have another variable called b and int of input enter b, and let's have a function called def divide a comma b with which will return a divided by b. And let's say these are the other kind of executions that occurs once we divide the a and b. The output would be equal to c plus 1. I'm kind of over optimistic, like, okay, this is a line of codes that is gonna work irrespective of the condition, irrespective of the inputs. And this is what guys, this is what happens considering like I'm just running this code and I'm gonna enter the value of a is 5 and the value of b is 10, and I'll be getting 1.5 as an output. Let's print c also so I can understand. Okay, so let's give the same examples like 5 and okay, 10. So on dividing we get 0.5, and on addition adding 1 it gets 1.5. So guys, considering I'm just running this code again, given I'm having 5 and 45 and I'm having 0, it says like, okay, there is just an exception called zero division error, and it's the reason is like at line 5, this is the line 5, you are dividing a variable with b. So guys, like this is a possible scenario where you could say like, okay, this is a point where I'm just confused with things, and this is how you should handle things. So this is the suspicious block where an error might happen, right? And I'm gonna accept with except I'm telling like, considering I'm just not having these two right now, except I'm telling right, okay, print there exists some error. Let's say we have this within the try block. Okay, so let me run this whole thing guys again. For a better understanding, let's not waste our time with some dynamic variables. Like let's say we are handling the only zero division error, logical error, right? So we are getting into the try. Like what happens here is like we are getting into the try block. We found like, okay, this is the point, like we get an error, and then directly it goes without being executing other things, it directly goes to the exception block. And guys, in order to get here it shows like, okay, only the message is being told, like it is not even telling like what is the actual error is, right? So for getting the actual error, it is better to have the exception keyword as e. We are having alias as e, and then print the resistant error, and we shall also print like the error is yes. And guys, don't forget to change the type and e, and then let's print it again. So here now we have some clear understanding what the error is on. So it's good to handle the handle a suspicious block, and it is also important to know why we got an exception, right? So that we can handle most of our errors in such a way we might be having some alternatives to it, right? So in case there exists this error can be handled. Most of them will be handled given we have a reason to handle it. Like given we value is 0, it can't be, right? Okay, let's move on to our next thing. Like along with this try except, we also have a block called else. So this block is executed once we go to the try block and there exists no kind of exception. It goes to the else block, and this is where the output code comes in. Okay, so we shall cut this one. We shall paste it right here. This is how the things should work. Okay, okay. So this when the execution actually enters the else block, it's like when the try block is being executed and there exists no kind of exception within it, and that is the place where the else block execution comes in. In case there exists any kind of exception, we won't even the Python script won't even execute the values within the else, right? So guys, this is how things works. It is the same output for what it was before we are even initializing the else. So consider I'm having a value of 10 right here. Okay, so upon running this, I'm getting the value of 0.5 and 1.5. The reason is this code is run and there exists no kind of error or exception. So hence this kind of code is run, and we won't even get into the except block. The reason is there exists no kind of exception, and the else block is run as it is good to go, right? So this is how things works when there is a try except and else block. And there exists also yet another interesting part which is called finally. And given guys, like this is kind of try except and exception code. This is a block of code that you are running executing, that might affect the whole programming, or that there might be a block of code which should be executed irrespective of the state of the before class, or the irrespective of the state of the finally or the try except block, etc. So that kind of code will be coming under the finally block, right? So sorry. So once the try except block has been executed, the final block always executed, like considering like that nothing had happened before it, whether it might be an exception, whether it might not be an exception, whatever within the final block will be executed irrespective of the things that happen from try to else block. Okay, let's have a scenario here. So let's have a finally block, and let's print um, exceptions. Congratulations, exceptions has been handle. Okay guys, let me run this one. Like first of all, let me clear this one. So this is a scenario guys, like we won't even get an exception. So this is how things gonna work. We're gonna get into the try block, we get into the divide function. The divide function is called and the values will be written and it will be stored in C. The print C function will be executed. There won't be any kind of exception. Hence the else block will be executed and finally will be executed irrespective of the state that has been before within these three blocks. Okay, so this is gonna be, yep, and we have the congratulations, execution has been handled, exceptions has been handled, sorry. We have the outputs to consider I'm having an exception right here. And let me, okay, so this is what happens, like we have the exception block being activated. So this is what had happened guys, like we call the try block, we divide, we call for a divide function, there exists an exception, hence the try block execution has been shifted to within except block, and we have the print statement executed, and that's the reason we have these print statements. Like it shows like there exists some error and the error is because of division by 0. And guys, it won't even get into the else statement as there exists an exception. Okay, and then finally will be executed irrespective of these situations. So guys, like this is how things works, and this is one of the basic things of having some better codings. And this is always executed in a program, considering like you have some in inside, like okay, this block of code is it's kind of suspicious and there are chances like it might be broken. Whenever you find the block is more volatile, you will be trying to handle the exception. Okay, here we know like okay, it's because of zeros and because of the zero by divisions, and some we will be analyzing, we'll be handling with more inputs, we'll be handling with diverse inputs, and then we'll be checking what the exception is and we'll be optimizing the code. This is how we program. This is one of the good practice of using a try, except, else, and finally blocks. Okay guys, I hope I made my point clear, and let's move on to our next topic, which is file handling. Okay guys, like whenever you execute a print statement, or whenever you run a process, it might be a data modeling or data pre-processing, or considering for you are doing an addition or subtraction or any kind of arithmetic operations or any operations. The main point is like once you turn off your computer or shut downing all the systems, it is needed, like in order to get the same results, you actually had to rerun the script to get the same results, right? So one of the reasons why we need to learn file handling is the reusability. So whenever you are handling a huge chunk of data, and it is not easy to run it again and again, right? So there must be a way to write it on in some kind of files, and it can be read down later to analyze what it how far we have done and what is the point that we have finished, and so on and so forth, right? So this is yet one of the important part of programming, which is file handling. So we have very simple kind of syntax like called open function, and within it there existed two parameters, which is file name and the mode. The mode is nothing but what we like to do with the files. We might be reading the file. Let me have this scenario. We might be reading the file. We might be appending a file given that file is already exists, and considering there exists no kind of file, it will create a file. W is like it will be creating a file, and it will be start writing on it. And one of the key issues with W is like given the file is present, it might overwrite data in it. And X is yet another mode where it returns a null value, or it returns an error considering a given file is not present in that scenario. It won't create it won't create if the file don't exist, like what append and write does. It always creates a specified file. Okay, and this mode is like whether it's a text or binary, it's very important guys. Like in case you are dealing with some kind of OpenCV projects, whenever you're going with image processing, it is always we'll be reading a files with RB, which is read the binary file or write a binary file, WB or AB, and this is how the combinations works. and totally depends on the scenario and totally depends on the projects you're working on. And let's write our first program. Like, let me clear this one. Clear this one. Okay. Let's have file is equal to open. I'm gonna initialize the text1.txt file name and the mode is W. I'm gonna write my file. So once you are declaring a file, you must be writing the file.write. Welcome to day 4 of the bootcamp. And at last, file.close. Guys, upon running this on my same working directory, I'll be creating my file. In case, guys, you just want to have a different, you want to store all the files in a different directory, it is always needed to mention the directory before it, right? So let's say I'm in this directory D edspread bootcamp 4, right? So in that case, all you need to do is like have a slash here. Always don't use this slash, guys, because in Python we have yet another field kind of things called regular expressions, which is mainly used for NLP, and this slash t always represents that kind of fields. So use the slash. I'll be having the slash and then edspread slash 0.bootcamp, and I will be writing this one. No such file or directory, guys. This is how you work on, like, this is how things works. In case you are listing out a different directory or something, it is not actually present in such scenarios. I'll always recommend go to that directory bootcamp, and then I will be copying the address and then I will be pasting. And as I said before, it is always eminent to change the slashes. Now we don't find any kind of error, right? Let us save this directory for our later use. And let's say, given I have written the files in this directory, now I would like to read the file which is actually present in the directory, right? So before that, even I shall also tell how append works. So with A on it, like not having W. Welcome to day 4 of bootcamp. Let's say let's learn file handling. Guys, upon running this, we also having no kind of error right now. And let's see what is actually within this file. Okay, so all you need to do is, like, you don't need to write change the directory. Guys, you might have found that we are actually having two files of text1.txt, which is in this current directory, and another one is in the directory of which is being mentioned here, right? So all we have done, return and then appended is in this directory, whereas the same text file which is in this directory won't have certain things, right? Let us check. So all I need to do is like f.read, and then with replacing the write, we must be having read lines. Okay, so on running it, yeah, I just forgot to print the read lines. Print. So this has like welcome to day 4 of the boot camp, and along with the next text called let's learn file handling. Okay, so here is the interesting part. Upon skipping the directory which we have appended earlier, on running this we'll be having only the welcome to day 4 of the bootcamp. So guys, it is very much important or imminent when you are handling the file, the directory in which you are storing or retrieving or deleting or updating. So whatever I have updated is in this directory, whereas in my current working directory it has only the written component. So in case of file handling, it is very much eminent to know where you are storing all the data, right? So I hope I made my point more clear. And then we are moving on to, we have found how to write. Okay, this is how you write. We have the append and then write functions. We have the read functions. And guys, it is always a good practice to close a file once you are done with whatever you need to do with that file. It might be reading, it might be an updation with a kind of append statement, it might be writing, or so and so forth, right? And guys, I hope you have learned some new lessons regarding file handling, exception handling, what an error is, what an exception is, and how to handle packages, sub packages, and the function within it. And guys, don't forget to fill in the day 4 attendance form, which is mandatory for a certificate of completion. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and then like and share with your friends. And then don't forget to comment, guys. You just feel free to ask whatever your doubts you have regarding this session in the comment section. We'll be happy to address your issues. And guys, have thank you for your patient listening, and hope you enjoy your journey, and see you in yet another day. Bye.